Hello and welcome. It's episode 11. It's Cincinnati Bengals, and we are going to take a look at what their draft room, their war room, entering this draft might look like, at least from my perspective, where I see they are struggling with talent, where they need to add it, and where they may be struggling with talent, but they have recently invested, so I don't think they will necessarily do it this summer. Now, with that being said, if you are here to just see my quick analysis, quick thoughts, here they are. Here are there for your liking. Tier 3 means I would not touch this room sooner than like a 4th or 5th round. Tier 2, day 2, absolutely fine. Tier 1, I would definitely take a look at this position with premium picks. But if you want to know more, if you want to know how I came to these conclusions, dig deeper with me, because we have about 15 minutes until Bengals to speak of. And I just have to warn you, I will be here during draft night talking on the stream, so if you want to join it, you are very much welcome. With no further ado, let's start. Do we need to talk about quarterback? Joe Burrow, he's a franchise guy. Joe Flacco is one of the better backups in the league. What is there to say? Really great room. I don't think you need to add anything, but it's solved, right? In terms of running back, I see that there is something that a lot of people will see differently. And I would say if by some, stroke of luck, there is a chance for them to draft Jeremiah, then Chase Brown, as much as they do like Chase Brown, I think they really do in Bengals, bye-bye, it's Jeremiah's time. If he's not on board, I don't think Bengals should absolutely touch this room. And here's why. Chase Brown is a legit starter. He's not exceptional. I would say he's like 24th best starting running back, but that's absolutely fine. At this position, you want to be special, but not everyone can have Bijan Robinson. And then you have a plethora of Chase Browns that they will absolutely do. And he's a great running back. Don't get me wrong. It's just this position is kind of easier to replace, and there is a lot of Chase Browns out there, but they are absolutely fine with him. They have Samaje Perine, who is their third down back and very good veteran presence, and Taj Brooks from last year, who I still think that there is perhaps something to unlock. If you hear the scratching, I have to repeat myself. Every time I start to speak in English, my cat just does this. I don't know, something about English makes her want to crawl for attention, even though she's just been snuggled for 5 minutes and scratched and everything, but felines. Now, with this being said about this room, I really do feel like either you get Jeremiah and we're okay, we like you, Chase, but Jeremiah is a generational level talent, and I truly think he is, or they absolutely should not touch this room with anything premium. And here's why. In running backs, I don't think this is like other position where you need to plan succession. Because Chase Brown, he's not signed for next year. But that does not mean I want to draft the running back in third round, give him redshirt year, and let him out there next season. That's just not the case for running back. So with that being said, having functional, and I really think they have a functional room for 26, means for position of running back much more. So high tier 3, invest in 4th, 5th round, take a look at guys that could surprise you, though this RB class is really scarce of talent, so I'm not even sure they should touch it at all. In terms of wide receivers, well, what to say? You have probably the best duo in the league, though Cowboys fans would disagree with me. I think they have legit case, while I would say Jamarr and T are doing it longer, so I would probably give them a nod, though it's very, very close. Now, they are the headline, and for years they have try to have a wide receiver free. There is Andre Yosivas, there was other options. Necessarily, I don't think you need it. You can have wide receiver 4s and 5s. Really, don't swing high, because these two guys, majority of targets should go to them, and they have found in Mike Gesicki an absolute fine of a tight end that is kind of your number 3 passing option. So to me, tier 3 need. I don't think they should really look here. There's still, what's the name of? They got rid of him. Did they? Oh, okay. So second round from Let me check on this one. Bengals pick 2024, I think it was. So they got, what was his name? Jermaine Burton. Is Jermaine Burton out already? Oh, I missed that. So they even cut Jermaine Burton. Interesting. Like, there has been a lot of off-field issues for Jermaine, but interesting. All right, so they kind of do have depth missing, though they have like 8 guys. So, if you have Jamarr and T, does it really matter? I would argue not too much. Tight end, I think they are fine there with Eric All, Drew Sample, and Mike Gesicki. And Eric, you have your developmental pick. Drew is your veteran, and Mike Gesicki is kind of your fine option as tight end. So another room that I just don't think they should touch. In terms of their offensive line, starting at offensive tackle. And here's once again, I would have not approached the offseason the same way that Bengals did. Because Orlando Brown being part of the future plan, that would not be what I have on the menu. They have resigned him. He is still here for what, like 3 more years right now? Yeah, they resigned him for 2 more years, so that makes it 3 years. Like 16 million a year. I'm not saying it's like a dreadful contract, especially how much the tackles market is up. At the same time, it really gives you like a Pittsburgh type of option where it's fine. It's not exciting. It doesn't give you anything like too high. And I would even argue that last year, I'm not sure that Orlando necessarily made up for 16 million a year of a player. But they think they fixed this, or like they have a plan. And on the other hand, you have Amarius Mims, who's improving very well. So they have their franchise tackle. I don't think it's a perfect room, but in terms of draft need, I think their view is still free. And while I would like a better tackle than Orlando Brown, from draft perspective, it would be just like making 2 decisions that don't really coexist well with each other. I think next year it's different beast because there's just 2 years left on Brown's deal, and with tackles, redshirt for a guy is absolutely freaking fine. Now, in terms of interior of the defensive line, we are talking with much bigger urgency. At center, I think it's kind of alright with Ted Karras. I'm not saying it's great. I'm not saying you necessarily have like a super plan for the future, but it's fine. The problem is the guards. Dylan Fairchild, to be fair, he was better than I expected even. But it still didn't mean like he was necessarily great. But I do expect that he's going to get a starting job and they will continue and want to develop him. The problem is, who is on the opposite side? Because right now it's Dalton Reisner, and this does not fill me with like too much confidence. So for me, this is definitely a room that I would really look if I'm Bengals, high tier 2, perhaps even low tier 1, because let's face it, your best asset on this team is Joe freaking Burrow, and he's had a ton of injuries. A lot of those injuries came from he's being sacked more than any quarterback like per snap basis. It's the fact. So, protect him, please. And if you can get a guy that's like a guard center flexible, because that guy is not necessarily the highest upside guy, he's coming with the age, absolutely fine with me too. So I would really look at if there is center guard or guard center convert and bring him in as high as the first round for the Bengals, though. There I would go like with premium, not looking for flexibility, really looking for a player. Now, let's shift towards their defense. They do have 2 hills, but in terms of their defensive line room, edge, they have lost Trey Hendrickson, but they have replaced him with Boye Mafe. It's a downgrade in terms of pass rush, in terms of like completeness of a game. Boye Mafe is definitely less of a worry in terms of run defense. And whilst the rest of the room is right now not very good, it's Miles Murphy, first round investment, who, for better or worse, had a solid year last season. And it's Shemar Stewart, another first round investment from just last year. So, is it a good room? Hell freaking no. Do I necessarily see them investing premium resources here? I don't, because you need to trust at least to a degree your development. And I think with Miles Murphy, they have seen enough of promise last year that they can justify it to themselves to play him as an Edge 2. Not perfect. It's kind of an uneasy tier 3 if they are going like, hell, screw this, Miles going to be R3, Jamarr is going to be R4. We need another guy. I would not blame them. In terms of spending your resources most wisely, I would not encourage that. Now, in terms of the interior, interesting room because it's filled with veterans. Starting with BJ Hill, that I really like, and this is a very fun picture of BJ Hill. They have brought Jonathan Allen as the veteran presence and kind of say pass rush credibility, a little bit more upside in that area. And they drafted Chris Jenkins just 2 years prior, and I'm not saying he's been spectacular, but he's been fine. So you have kind of 3 defensive tackles that you can count on. There are also guys from last year like McKinley Jackson. I think TJ Slayton also was from last year. There is some talk about like Shemar Stewart playing more like defensive end, sliding a little bit more inside rather than from the edge. Another room when I'm like, it's not damn good. And here I would say we are missing much more of that youth. So even though I think it's a tier 3 need in terms of, well, it's really fine right now and there is some investment from the draft to like try to develop, I think rejuvenating this room could be an absolute possibility. So probably like a low tier 2, high end tier 3, something like that. I would probably give myself a little bit of nod this way. Though, once again, when I look at how Bengals approach this, they have brought Jonathan Allen to kind of be their fix instead of looking for the fix or perhaps like a long-term solution in terms of the draft. I'm not saying Jonathan Allen stops you from doing that, but when you have him, TJ Slayton, BJ Hill, like, it's all right for right now. And like, truth to be told, even for 27. So I think high tier 3 is probably fine from their point of view. Again, for me, it's kind of hard to be like doing something completely opposite because it just would go against what they have done in terms of free agency. So they kind of forced my hand. Now, in terms of linebackers, it's an interesting room to be said at least. And I made up my mind and ended up with a tier 2 need. At the same time, I'm just kind of fascinated with it because in theory, the worst should be in the past for this room because they have drafted Demetrius Knight and Byron Carter last year. They have both outplayed Oren Burks, which I thought like is kind of crazy because they have not played well, but Oren Burks was even worse. I thought he was a very nice signing. I was wrong about that. But these 2 guys, like, they were not good last year. But at the same time, you have given them so many starting opportunities in year 1 in which it was clear that they are going to struggle. It was kind of a miracle that they even were to a degree playable. So when you look at it this way, why would you do that and then try to replace them in second year when in theory everything should be better? Because this position, I would say, really needs repetition and snaps and years in the NFL to get into shape. Very, very few guys are able to do what Kansas Washington did and really be good in year 1. Him and Jihad Campbell both. So, in theory, this room should be fine because it was playable last year. And when you put yourself willingly into that hell, why would you change it when now it should be better? At the same time, it's still not a good room. So I'm really struggling. I kind of can't see them doing anything. If it's perhaps Sonny Styles falling to them, I can absolutely see them drafting Sonny Styles in round 1. But I can also see them not address this room at freaking all. And I'm kind of cool with both decisions because at least I see a coherent plan. Do I necessarily like it? No, but it's not right hand doesn't know what the left hand is doing. So that's where I landed on linebacker. Now, in terms of secondary, this is low-key a room overall that not many people talk about with the Bengals, but it's actually quite a good room. Yet, it remains to miss one big piece. Or maybe two. So, okay, let's put it this way. It's a room with core blocks that they could definitely find as a foundation of damn good secondary. DJ Turner. Last year, he was playing on a Pro Bowl level, and I'm very excited to see him this year to perhaps ascend to probably not top 5, but top 10 territory for freaking sure. Opposite to him, Dax Hill, you also have Josh Newton. The thing is, I don't want Jalen Davis to be my slot corner. I don't think that's really great. And with Josh Newton and Dax Hill, it's functional enough, I would guess, but you can definitely upgrade on that. And you are still looking for that slot option quite clearly, in my opinion, or nickel. So like guys like Jalen Kilgore, second round, if he's there for them, I can absolutely see them going for it. Now, this makes it, in my eyes, a low tier 1 need because clearly there is one starting spot that is not occupied. It's though the least valuable, but clearly unoccupied, and the value of that spot is going higher and higher in terms of last couple of seasons. And it's not like you cannot upgrade on a CB2. Now, with safety, adding Brian Cook was, I think, very nice. It's really pleasant to see that Bengals can invest into their defense somehow, some way. And I really like Brian Cook. At the same time, Jordan Battle is kind of a good player, fine right now, but not necessarily a guy you cannot upgrade upon. He's also in his last year of the contract, so do you necessarily want to pay him when you are already paying Brian Cook? I don't think so. I also feel like there is not enough quality depth for me. So looking for 27 and give myself more depth and perhaps a guy to battle Jordan Battle this season, I would look at this as a tier 2 need. So overall, this was your Bengals. I would be very exciting if they get their hands on Jeremiah Love. I think more likely scenario is there is going to be one of those guards or like a tackle to guards potential converts that I would like to see for this team. At the same time, they can not surprise me. They can go with Sonny Styles if he's out there for him. So really, really interesting what they do with their first pick. And I would say their needs align very well for what could be available for them. So that's at least one positive for a franchise that after Joe took them to Super Bowl in year 2, is hungry for another success, but it's not coming so far. See you with the next one.